So how is it going? Dank Division, Danked in here, and it's time we talk about the Dark Water gameplay that we saw from Modern Warfare 2. For those of you who want to watch the gameplay without me talking, I will leave a link to the original video in the description down below, but let's dive in. So where do I even begin? First off, this mission definitely takes some nostalgia strings and pulls at them wholeheartedly. That, of course, being that this mission feels like a direct reference to the original Modern Warfare mission Crew Expendable, as well as the Modern Warfare 2 mission Only Easy Day was yesterday. And just off of that, that's enough to easily get some people to pre-order right off the bat, but maybe that hasn't convinced you, and I'm not here to convince you, I'm just here to point out some of the things that we see. So let's dive in. First off, the lighting. Just off of the lighting alone and the graphics, which of course the graphics are coming from a PlayStation 5, though I'm an Xbox person, I will not deny that the PlayStation 5 is a powerhouse to be reckoned with. And just going off the lighting alone, I want you to pay attention to the muzzle flashes as well as how light is affected when going from room to room, as well as just everything from the lightning, etc. I mean, look, as the door opens, you get that little bit of red light that hits you, as well as you're passing through shadows, as people are passing in front of you, blocking out light sources. You will notice that the lighting changes constantly. Now, granted, while video games will never perfectly recapture how lighting works, they will get really, and I mean really, close to it. Just look at the comparison from being outside in the pouring rain to being inside. Speaking of rain, take a look at just the visuals of the rain. If you're facing away from the rain, you'll notice that you don't have any water droplets on your screen. The second you start actually facing in the direction of the rain, you actually end up with water droplets on your screen. Now, while it doesn't make you completely blind, almost like how Left 4 Dead used to do when you're playing that one mission, you know, the heavy rain one, this one just makes it that you're aware that the rain is definitely in your face. Now, one of the key things to also pay attention to is just some of the sounds. That, of course, being indoor versus outdoor. Now, as you're outside, you can absolutely hear the storm raging onward, while inside you get the perfect sound effect of just being muffled, and just audio-wise, just off the storm alone, it gets your attention. Now, more importantly, let's talk about the gun sound. Specifically, this wonderful vector that we've all come to know and love, or as some people who have been playing Modern Warfare 2019 will call it, the Fennec. I'm just going to call it the Vector from here on out, just to go off for that. This gun, while it still, for some reason, has more recoil than its real-life equivalent, still has an audio sound that is unmistakable to any person who has ever wielded the gun in real life, as well as people who have just played COD and other video games over the course of time. The guns sound crisper than ever, and quite literally pass the Modern Warfare 2019 level of just how good the audio of the guns can sound. Now, is this the best gun sounds we've heard up to date? That's a debate up to you to decide. But just look and listen to the sounds of the guns, and it'll definitely get your attention. Now, speaking of the guns, let's just look at the flow of combat. Everything that we loved about Modern Warfare 2019 with just how the combat flowed and how seamless it was just comes back and is dialed up to a 12. Having it that everything is just smooth movements, having it that just everything about it feels like you're in the actual action. It doesn't feel like you're necessarily playing a video game this time. It actually feels somewhat real. Now, one of the key things I want to focus on is those little small details that you hear. Now, what do I mean by that? So, like I said with the lighting, you have it that when you're firing your gun, you actually have it that the muzzle flash exists, creating this wonderful little effect of changing the lighting for that split second that you're firing your gun. And what's better yet is that lighting isn't the same when your opponent is firing their gun, which makes things better because, let's say, for example, this is multiplayer or we're in Warzone. You can actually use the muzzle flash to track down enemies and use lighting to give their position away. Now, more importantly, while you're watching the footage, when you actually hear it in the background, when you go watch the original video, you will find one key thing that catches my attention is just how good the audio has gotten with just small little intricate details. Where do I want to start? The footsteps. If you listen carefully, you can actually hear the footsteps of the enemies as they're going. Now granted, sometimes you're hearing that little splish splash as they're running around, but that is something we have been begging for. We have been wanting for the audio of the footsteps to actually sound correct. For the longest time, it has been a case of that we could never find where someone was in Warzone as well as other COD games, because we would hear them and it would sound like they were to the left, but for some reason, they're to the right. But with this, it almost sounds like you could hear if they're above you, below you, to the left, to the right, in front of you, behind you. It actually sounds like the contextual sounds work, and the ambiance just makes it so much better. What's better yet is when firing other weapons. Now, granted, we have always heard this sound effect here and there, but I just always love pointing out those little itty-bitty details. You can actually hear the shells hitting the ground as they are being fired. Now, granted, I'm not referring to the shotgun. I'm referring, of course, to the Vector when being fired. Now, this brings the major question that I have for you, and I will not judge you guys for how you want to answer this. After watching just 7 minutes of gameplay, is this enough to convince you to pre-order? Now, again, a lot of you are going to tell me no. And you want to know why? Some of you are waiting for that multiplayer gameplay. Some of you can't trust a COD game after Vanguard. Some of you are waiting to see if there's going to be, oh, I don't know, a physical copy of the Vault Edition, because some people still cling to physical copies instead of digital copies. In the comment section down below, I want you to weigh in on this gameplay and how this makes you feel about the upcoming game. I look forward to seeing that comment section down below. So, to everyone who watched this video, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media pages. And all of you out there, you guys have a wonderful day, night, whatever you're doing, do it wholeheartedly. And of course, as always, this is Dank Dan, signing off.
Get them to hit that subscribe button, Dank. It's the only way we can figure out the numbers.
15.
What do the numbers mean, Dank? We're wasting valuable time.